David B Zilberman. Published February the 16th, 2018. Further information can be found at the end of this recording. David B Zilberman. Russian. May the 25th, 1938, Odessa, July the 25th, 1977, Boston. Was a Russian-American philosopher and sociologist, scholar of Indian philosophy and culture. Well-versed in the study of language, he knew Russian, Sanskrit, English, French, Slavic languages, German. Part 1. Life and Work. Part 1. Life and Work. Chapter 1. USSR. David Zilberman was born in Odessa, Ukraine on May the 25th, 1938, to Benjamin Zilberman, an engineer economist, and Riva Timina, a doctor. He graduated high school in 1955. In 1962, Zilberman was awarded an engineering and meteorology degree from the Odessa State College of Meteorology. From 1962 until 1966, Zilberman was employed as a meteorologist at the local airport in Ashgabat, Turkmenistan, in Central Asia. Zilberman began his Indological studies in 1962. He met and became friends with the academician Boris Smirnov, a medical doctor, a Sanskritist, and a leading theosopher in Russia. Zilberman studied Sanskrit under Smirnov while pursuing Indological investigations in logic, Indian yoga, and ritual. In Turkmenistan he also studied a number of languages in addition to Sanskrit, including Greek, Latin, basic Romano-Germanic languages, and some Slavic languages, and he began writing philosophical essays. In 1966 Zilberman returned to Odessa. He continued with his philosophical investigations on his own and participated in the Colloquium for Philosophy and History at Odessa State University. Organized by Professor Avenira Emov, director of the Department of Philosophy. In 1968, he completed a 2-year program at the State Institute of Patent Service. During that period, Zilberman worked at the Odessa State College of Meteorology performing research, and he worked for a time at a construction and development firm for the Black Sea Fleet as a patent lawyer. In 1968 Zilberman was introduced to Professor Georgy Shidrovitsky, who headed the Moscow School of Methodology. Shidrovitsky recommended Zilberman to one of Russia's leading sociologists, Professor Yuri Levada, for the postgraduate program at the Institute for Concrete Sociological Research, IKSI. In Moscow, Zilberman participated in the organized by Levada methodological seminar which united supporters of many different scientific areas and was for a long time considered a semi-legal institution. Zilberman was also a participating member of the Moscow School of Methodology. The participants in the Moscow School seminars included Alexander Zinoviev, Evil Delyankov, Georgy Shidrovitsky, Alexander Pyatagorsky, Merab Mamadashvili, Lefebvre, Boris Grushin, Oleg Genizaretsky and others. The school was believed by some to be the source of the most important developments in philosophy in the post-war period, rivaling anything done in the Western analytical tradition. The Moscow School of Methodology remains virtually unknown in the West. During these years Zilberman translated numerous Hindu and Buddhist texts, poetic abstracts from the Mahabharata, and part of the Tattva-Sintamani tetralogy from Sanskrit. He wrote articles on Indian philosophy, on sociology and anthropology, and on the sociological theory of tradition, a largely overlooked topic in modern social science. Zilberman worked closely with Alexander Pyatagorsky, writing a number of articles for the Great Soviet Encyclopedia. After leaving the USSR they remained close friends and continued their collaborative research and publication efforts until Zilberman's death in July 1977. Zilberman's dissertation, A Study of Tradition, became a major project and the focus of his efforts during his final years in the Soviet Union. Completed in 1972, the work was accepted but remained unpublished due to the unexpected and sudden Soviet suppression of sociological and related research. an event described in Zilberman's Post-Sociological Society. The IKSI was closed and it essentially disappeared. Its members were forced to operate behind the Iron Curtain in a context of severely limited public visibility and without proper scientific recognition under conditions of heightened Soviet-style repression. In 1972, as he completed his research and wrote his thesis, Zilberman discovered a new type of methodological philosophical thinking, unlike the known types, which became his central preoccupation for the rest of his life. He called the new method modal methodology. In 1972, due to an offer accepted by Zilberman to publish an article about Kabbalah abroad, he reportedly became a target of KGB surveillance. Leaving Moscow, Zilberman returned again to Odessa. To earn a living, he undertook numerous translations for the Moscow Patriarchy, translating much of the Oxford Theological Dictionary from English to Russian, as well as the History of French Royal Court from French. Zilberman translated into Russian the book by Diengol's Navianaya Logic and wrote an introductory section to the work dealing with some epistemological aspects of Indian formal logic. The book was published in 1974 in Moscow but without his name. Part 1, Life and Work. Chapter 2, United States. In 1973, David Zilberman and his family emigrated to the United States. In 1973, Zilberman received a position as a visiting assistant professor in the Department of Anthropology at Hunter College in New York. In September 1974, Zilberman accepted a position as postdoctoral fellow with the Committee on South Asian Studies at the University of Chicago. For the last 2 years of his life, Zilberman taught at Brandeis University in Waltham, Massachusetts, first in the Department of Anthropology, and later in the Department of Philosophy and History of Ideas. Zilberman taught a variety of courses in Indian and Western philosophy, and related disciplines. Meanwhile, Zilberman started a book dedicated to thorough research and analysis of the Russian-Soviet philosophy. The manuscript, titled Moscow School of Methodology, was left unfinished. David Zilberman died on July 1977 in a car-bicycle collision while returning home from his last seminar with his students at Brandeis. His wife Eleanor Miknica Zilberman lives in Florida. The younger daughter Alexandra Curtis lives in New York. The older daughter Natalia Kani lives in Boston. His sister Rachel Zilberman lives in Chicago. Part 2, Legacy. David Zilberman created a distinctive type of methodological philosophical thinking, which he called modal methodology, or modal metaphysics, and through this practice defined the sum of the metaphysics. Zilberman attempted to develop the Philosophia Universalis from classical Hindu philosophies and applied it as a new synthesis to Western philosophy. Some contemporary Russian philosophers consider themselves to be David Zilberman followers. Zilberman's archive is saved in the special collections of the Muga Memorial Library, Boston University. Piatigorsky Preface. In David B. Zilberman, The Birth of Meaning in Hindu Thought, / Robert S. Cohen Piatigorsky. Ed. D. Rydell Publishing Company, 1988. P.XIII XV. Pundit G.L. Rediscovering Indian Philosophy. Review of The Birth of Meaning in Hindu Thought. Delhi, University of Delhi. Hans van Ditmarsh Frohit Parik Far Ramanujan, Logic in India. Editorial Introduction, Online Journal of Philosophical Logic. Vol. 40 5, Bs. As. Argentina, Universidad de Salamanca Mar del Plata, September 2011. Hans van Ditmarsh Frohit Parik Far Ramanujan, Logic, University of Sevilla. Camilo José Sela S/N, 41018 Sevilla, Spain, 2015. Logic in India. Editorial Introduction. Materialism of the Shavaka and Rationalism of the Buddha. posted by Srinav Azara Os on October the 11th, 2012 in Shavaka, Indian Philosophy. Bilamoria, P. Article. Thinking Negation in Early Hinduism and Classical Indian Philosophy. Log. Universe. 2017. 11:13. doi:10.1007/S11787/0170161 Springer. Part 3. Works. The Kabbalah mysticism and the social situation in Spain at the close of the 15th century. In Russian. In Jews in the USSR, London 1973. The Jewish minority in the Soviet Ukraine. In Minutes of the Seminar in Ukrainian Studies, Harvard University. 1974. 06. Races and Peoples: Modern Ethnic and Racial Problems. Ethnography, Academy of Sciences, Moscow, 1972. P. 351, English Summary. Reviewed by D.A. the 6th DBZILBERMAN, University of Chicago, in American Anthropologist. The flagship journal of the American Anthropological Association. 1975, pages 929 to 930. A critical review of Eakins's translation of the Large Sutra on Perfect Wisdom, in the Journal of Asian Studies, November, 1975. A critical review of Dekulapahana's Causality, the Central Philosophy of Buddhism, in the Journal of Asian Studies, May, 1976. Iconic Calculus, in General Systems, Volume X the 11th, 1976, pages 183 to 186. Ethnography in Soviet Russia, in Dialectical Anthropology, Vol. 1, No. 2, February, 1976, pages 135 to 153. Dissent in the Soviet Union, in Liberation, Volume 20, No. 6, Fall 1977, pages 328, edited by R. Cohen, Boston University. A Social Portrait of the Soviet Intelligentsia, a Review, in Theory and Society, 5, 1978, pages 277 to 282. On Cultural Relativism and Radical Doubt, in Science, Politics and Social Practice, BSPS, Volume 164, pages 359 to 372. The Emergence of Semiotics in India. Some approaches to understanding Laksana in Hindu and Buddhist philosophical usages. In Semiotica, Volume 17, N. 3, 1976, pages 255 to 265. Article written together with A. Piatigorsky. Orthodox Ethics and the Matter of Communism. In Studies in the Soviet Thought, Volume 17, 1977, pages 341 to 419. Orthodox Ethics and the Matter of Communism. In Russian. I. Limbach Pub, Russia, St. Petersburg, 2014. The Post-Sociological Society. In Studies in the Soviet Thought, Volume 18, 1978, pages 261 to 328. DETPOSTSOSIOLOGISKESAMFUNN, av Professor David B. Zilberman, translation into Norwegian of In Online Journal Soviet Philosophy, Norway, June 2006. Culture, Historical Reconstruction and Mythology in the Anthropology of Paul Radin. In Dialectical Anthropology, Volume 6 of June 1982, Issue 4. The Birth of Meaning in Hindu Thought. Dordrecht, Boston, De Rydal Pub. Norwell, Kluwer Academic, 1988. Understanding Cultural Traditions Through Types of Thinking. Abstract from PhD thesis in The Birth of Meaning in Hindu Thought, Chapter V. The Second Eye. Understanding Cultural Tradition. In Russian. Ed. O. Genizaretsky, Institute for Development in name of G. Shidrovitsky, Pub. ROSSPEN, Series. Book of the World. Russia, Moscow, 2015. Semantic Shifts in Epic Composition, on the MODA Alphabetics of the Mahabharata. Semiosis, Michigan, 1984. Analogy in Indian and Western Philosophical Thought. Dordrecht, Springer, 2006. Special characters in this article were substituted with audio cues. They were denoted as follows: and, beginning and ending single or double quotations, and, left and right square brackets, and, left and right parentheses, a bullet point, an M dash. This recording is a derivative work from Wikipedia. For more information, to commission recordings like this, and to support the developer, please visit www.patreon.com/frogcast.